Hi, this is Kevin Martin again with Piece the Past, and you're on our YouTube channel, hopefully, Shooting Stars. And we talk about everything to do with autographs and the market today. And with over 35 years in the business, I think I know a little bit about it that I can hopefully help you with as collectors. We really need you to like, subscribe, and also make comments about it so we know which direction to go with the videos and what you're enjoying the best in the video series. If you want to see any of the past ones, you can see them under Shooting Stars on YouTube or again on our website, www.piecethepast.com. Today's is called Buying the Best for the best return on your money on your collection. Now, Malcolm Forbes, you might have heard of him, was a very wealthy collector who left behind stunning items like Lincoln's opera glasses and top hat from Ford's Theater the night he was assassinated, for God's sakes, when he passed away. But again, he was very wealthy. And he used to say that you buy the very best of an item that you can afford to get the best return later on in your collection. And he was right. Most of us will never have the deep pockets of a Forbes to buy those kind of things. They were easy for him to buy and easier for him to say that, right? But his advice is still nonetheless true. So how do you buy the best, especially on a budget? It doesn't need to be the most expensive. That's not what the best means here. I was in an autograph show a few years back looking through a dealer's box of things that were all marked $5. And believe me, $5 was retail on most of these items, you know, an inscribed 3x5 card of Angie Dickinson or something. Then a contract caught my eye. He had a lot of them from a local Los Angeles, California radio station from the 50s and 60s. He said, and they were marked, that they were all DJs, disc jockeys. At least that's, again, what he marked them. But I found one of them signed and witnessed by, here's a weird name for somebody, Melina Nurmi. Now, the dealer didn't know what I knew, that Melina Nurmi was better known to the world as Vampira. There'd be no Elvira without Vampira. She was in, of course, Ed Wood's famous movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space. That contract is worth $5,000 at least. It had circulated unknown with her real name for years in various bins and various collections and dealers. But it's also the best form that I could possibly own on Vampira. See, Vampira did my show, the Hollywood show, years before she passed away, and she signed 8x10s there, and they can be had today for $100, $150. But her contract that started this character on a late-night TV show, priceless. This is what I mean by buying the best form or content that you can buy. Let's make an easier comparison, okay? Elizabeth Montgomery is a wonderful, beautiful, talented actress, and we all remember her best as Samantha Stevens on the TV series Bewitched. Now, she signed her mail, and at some point a bunch of bank checks even came out and were thrown out into the market. So her signed autographs are out there, lovely portraits in most cases, and these checks again, both of them bring around $100 today, based on her demand and scarcity. But a signed photograph as Samantha from Bewitched is 3 times, maybe more, valuable. $400. That's called content. Content is usually used to talk about contracts and letters, but see, here it also applies to photographs. Now, content in a letter or contract would relate to what that contract is. So another example for that, for example, from our files, is we have a very rare management contract signed in the 1970s by Clint Eastwood. Management contracts cover a period of years. This one covers 3 years. So you could kind of look on IMDb and figure out what movies it was around, but it doesn't mention a movie by name, so you don't have that content. It's rare simply because Clint Eastwood is a desirable signature and rare on contracts, worth about $1,500. But we also have his first ever contract with a studio. Is that worth the same as the management agreement? Hardly. And what if the contract was for the film The Good and the Bad and the Ugly? An iconic film role of his, historic, as well as those last 2 examples, would sell for anything really. Because where are you going to find it? It's one of a kind. That's the kind of thing you want to try and add to your collection. You want a Tom Cruise signed photo? That's great. There are tens of thousands of them that exist. Why not a contract signed by him or a rare handwritten letter? Nobody writes letters these days anymore, and when they do, they're rare. Better still, his Top Gun contract or a Mission Impossible contract. In the late 1990s, I sold Mark Hamill's signed Star Wars contract to play Luke Skywalker for thousands of dollars then. I wish I still had it. It's worth even more today. But I have contracts signed by him for sale right now that are a few $100. So what's the difference? Content. In photographs, it's not just the role that they're in, but a larger photograph is going to be rarer than an 8x10. Smaller ones are going to be less desirable and less valuable. something special added, like a movie line, a character's name. That's better than just signing their name. These all would escalate the content and the value of the item. Now, I own many signed pieces by the famous showman from the 1800s, P.T. Barnum. I collect him as well as other people. His signature sells for around $150. A letter saying something routine, which most of them do, on his personal stationery with his home on it or something. Thank you for writing me. Thank you for your comments. I'll be seeing you next week. My itinerary. $400, $500, $600 in a very good market. But in 35 years of collecting, I've only seen him sign Phineas T. Barnum, his full name, instead of P.T. Barnum, only a handful of times. These are much more valuable. And a few times I've seen beautiful illustrated letterheads that show his famed museum, the American Museum, or circus, Barnum and Bailey. These are worth more even if he's discussing mundane things. But if he's discussing circus business instead of a travel itinerary or a thank you note like I mentioned earlier, even more valuable. Do you see the trend here? So your money, which is valuable to you, it is to me, my money, spend it wisely. Try to always buy the best form or content. Wait for it, it'll appear. Whether that's a simple signature, ink's more valuable than pencil, for example, or a signed photo. The best roll on the signed photo, the added lines, those larger images, the best content in a letter or contract. Always look for something unusual. Watch the dates when dates are involved in contracts or people date things. You know, I have a Babe Ruth signed photo that's dated just days before he passed. That holds more value. It'll escalate in value, while other more routine items will stay the same or possibly even go down in value over the years. That's our advice on buying for content. Malcolm Forbes was right, I'm right, and I think that if you follow it, you'll find your collection more valuable in each passing year than ever before. And that'll make the collecting even happier. Happy collecting.